Good morning and welcome to SB Connect, where we connect to and educate for the world of work. Today, we are on the campus of Victor Valley College at the Agricultural and Natural Resources program with Neville Slade. Today, you are in for a wonderful tour of his horticultural program, some of his aquaponics programs, and how you folks in the pathways, agricultural pathways, can find yourself here and understand a career in agriculture and natural resources. Again, we look forward to Neville Slade giving you a wonderful tour and introducing you to his team today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you guys with us today with this new technology. How many of you want to change the world or still think we can change the world? That's what we're about here. This is a place, we're the happiest little ship in the environment, and we've got some great opportunities to make a difference. We all know that our natural resources, our food supply all over the world are in real trouble. Climate change, water shortages, fires. And you can take that as despair and gnashing of teeth, or you can say, hey, we can do something. And fortunately, because of California, because we're so progressive, all the policy we have, we always, pretty much always lead the world in new technologies and new ways to work with our environment and integrate it into our society so that it works, it's sustainable. It's going to be there for our grandkids. So this is an incredibly exciting area. Victor Valley College is also really cool because we're right out here in the Mojave. The Mojave is the most biodiverse environment in the world of a semi-desert, okay? So it's a really cool place. We got all kinds of really interesting case studies. We call it a natural lab. You might have heard of the Erin Brockovich chromium-6 pollution story with PG&E just out here in Hinckley. There's a lot going on. So we learn by doing. We actually we're out in the field a lot. Dolores will be talking about that a little bit. So what do we offer? Well, we offer these partnerships and these connections directly into industry. We have a huge group of advisory and partners that have worked with us since we've been working on especially the natural resources part. And then we also have some really cool curriculum. California has done some really cool things in the last couple of years. One of them you might have heard of is associate transfer degrees. To really advance in this field, a lot of your work is with government agency. The Bureau of Land Management, for example, has their largest office in Barstow, National Park Service, Wildlife, Wildland Management, Mojave Water Agency, best water agency in the state. All these generally in the end will require a 4-year degree. We have certificates that'll get you started and get you in the door and get you a job, but the associate transfer degree is key. And we have one in animal science and we have one in plant science. We also have a regular 2-year degree in environmental horticulture, how you do horticulture in environmental friendly ways. So if you take one of those degrees, it's incredible. Your classes are it's not too focused to where it's boring and you have to take pre-described classes too much, but you get your math, your English, and it's all transferable, including our classes like plant science and soil science. And it leads you directly into a Cal State. And the state said a couple of years ago that the bar to reach there is a 2.5 grade point average. Okay, that's kind of where it's at right now. And also all the classes are fully transferable. So you don't get to the 4-year school and then tell you, hey, no, that doesn't transfer. Okay, so just wanted to point that out. We're now on slide number, we are going to be on slide number 3, the third one. So yeah, we're designed to be this seamless transition. Another really cool thing, you've probably hearing about it in your schools, high schools, is dual enrollment. You can take these classes now in high school, and we're very involved in that. So you can come through, get, pretty much a whole year, 2 years of your community college done before you get here by taking dual enrollment and also after hours taking concurrent enrollment with us as well. So you can seamlessly transfer through. And so, yeah, we've got some really state-of-the-art curriculum. We're very diverse. We go from true agriculture, the production, you think of the fields and crops, to horticulture and plant sciences. Then we have natural resource management. So that's air, water, wildland, wildlife, all those sorts of things that are incredibly dynamic. We've got all kinds of careers going on. And then you can go on to the four-year degree. So animal science, we're going to talk about next time. And we'll talk about how fun that is with the vet assistant. And now what we're going to do here is I'm going to pass you off to Dolores, and she's going to talk about specifically today, we're going to focus in on our plant sciences horticulture careers so that you can get a feel for what those are. So thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dolores. Let me pull this down so you can see my face. I can talk better. I'm Dolores Galt, and I'm the senior instructional assistant here in the department. But I'm also part-time faculty, so I teach a couple of classes here. And then I just also want to introduce my colleague here. This is Dakota Brooks, and we are both past students of the program. We both went through the whole program and turn around, and now we end up and we come back full circle, and we both work here in the department because it's great. So I'm going to walk you over to our aquaponics and aquaculture area, and we'll talk there. I'll talk a little louder too, because it's kind of a little bit noisy in here because we got some water running. But this is a really cool area that we wanted to show everybody. It's fairly new. This is our aquaponic system that we got going on. We don't have any fish right now. That's what aquaponic means, is working with fish. But the fish will eventually be in this large bucket here. And then we've just got a couple of vegetables growing right now just for show. But this we will be utilizing this year in our plant propagation class. So that is a class that I teach primarily. It's plant propagation. So if you're into horticulture, if you're into growing plants, you just like, gardening outside, growing vegetables, growing native plants, you can learn how to grow them in something like this, but also learn how to grow them, in the nursery, as the nursery you guys were looking at while Neville was talking to you. We do all our growing in that class. All the students grow all the plants for our department. We also have plant sales. So you can learn how to, if you wanted to work in a nursery setting, or even a botanic garden, you learn how to interact with customers and talk to them about plants. If you're just a big plant nerd, that's basically what I am. I'm a horticulturalist. I'm a big plant nerd. Everything, all plants, as well as Dakota as well. He's great. He's a plant nerd as well. So you'll fit right in here in our department. We also have another class called Plant ID, which is also great for plant nerds, which will help you with the conservation and restoration of native plants here in our deserts and just all throughout California. That introduces you to how to restore plants in our native habitats, how to conserve our native plant flora. So if you're interested in, conservation and helping the environment, all our classes, they're all great for that. Let me see it. If you're going, I don't think you guys have the PowerPoint anymore, but if you look on it, if you turn to look at it again on your own time, I believe it's going to be shared for you. It'll tell you about the number of classes that we have for our horticulture and ecological restoration. We have different certificates that you can get, and then in turn continue on and work for different government agencies. We work with the Bureau of Land Management, as Neville mentioned. We have a couple of projects with them. We have internship opportunities where you're interning and you're working specific for that project for the Bureau of Land Management. Currently, we have a project where we're growing plants to bulk up a seed, so native plant seed. So those students specifically work on that. It's a great opportunity. It exposes you to the broader field out there in restoration, or even under horticulture that you might not think that's out there. So it exposes you to a lot of different avenues in working with plants. It's not just plants, greenhouses, or farming vegetables. There's so many other great opportunities working with plants and conserving plants that you will get exposed coming through our department. You want to come in? I'll have Dakota come in. He can speak to you a little bit too about our BLM project. I'd like you to talk to about that a little bit.
Hello, students. My name is Dakota. As my friend Dolores here just introduced me, I am a worker on a project we have with the Bureau of Land Management. Again, that is focused on growing a bunch of plants that are native to our area, getting seed from them, and trying to put that seed back in the environment. So if we have a fire or some sort of environmental disaster, as Neville was talking about earlier, we can fix that a lot easier. And we can do it in a way that would look a lot similar to anybody who's like seen an agriculture field or thinks about farming in regular terms. We're kind of just taking that and using it to like fix a lot of the areas that just get damaged, whether it's because we're there and doing something kind of iffy or just because it happens. And that's how our environment works in California. You know, we got to fix it sometimes. And with projects like the one I work on, that also, keep in mind, can use a lot of student help, a lot of internships, a lot of opportunities coming in with it. It's one of those things that will last a long time, has such a huge effect on all the little problems that really add up together to make things worse. We're here to try and fix it ahead of time. And that's why it makes me really proud. And I am a student, a former student of EVC, of this college. And from here, I transferred to university at Pomona University. I was there for a few years. And everybody here, Neville, Dolores, some of the other instructors you're going to meet, were incredibly helpful, making sure that I could go from here to the next step and then back again. So I can use all the education I got and do a job that I genuinely love. So I'm looking forward to anybody who's interested coming here. You're going to find a lot of friends, a lot of help, and a lot of things to do if you have a mind to do it. We're always looking for help, and we are excited to have anybody who's willing to come.
And one other thing I wanted to mention, since we are here in our what we call our aquaculture area, we do have a hydroponic system behind us here. It's not currently up and running, but it will be up and running, which we'll grow some plants in. So if you're interested also in the hemp industry is looking for talented young individuals who already have some plant propagation knowledge in their background, or just know the basics of introduction of growing with hydroponics and or aquaponics. They are very much looking for those people in the industry, and having a plant propagation, just the class in the background or one of our certificates in horticulture will definitely be of help if you're looking to get into that field. We do have a lot of students that are primarily learning how to grow. Hemp's becoming a lot more popular now. We can use it for many, many, many things. It's very sustainable. So you do learn how to do that. So you're not, so, you know, better opportunities in that field as well. So let's see, if you guys, at the end, we'll have a Q&A, I believe, right? So if you guys have any questions for myself and or Dakota, any more, you know, related plant questions, we'll be happy to help you. So I think we're going to turn it over now to our next person over here. We'll walk you guys over this way. I'm going to do it in here. And I'll pass it over to Cindy.
Thank you, Dolores.
And just an introduction to this area for everybody. This is our wet soils lab area. So we also have soil science, just a little plug. And we're going to, this would be an area where they work in. So
Thanks, Dolores.
Cindy, thank you.
Hi, I'm Cindy Poor. I work full-time for the city of Victorville. And the reason why I work full-time there is because of my education here at VVC. The college was a great place, and I started with the environmental science class, which is the keystone of our natural resources and environmental science education here. So I work in government, and I also teach here at the city of Victorville. I teach irrigation and water management as a part-time instructor. And the staff here are so knowledgeable and friendly, and I loved it so much, I got a job. So we want to let you know about our programs here: irrigation and water management, environmental science and sustainability. That's what set my love for this this college, this department, and set my career off like a rocket. So you like to go on field trips. We have field trips. They are amazing. We went on a 2-day field trip to Hinckley and Zzyzx and saw just a huge part of our desert environment here, that the resources that we want to protect. And every part of environmental science is all about you, because who wants to live in a place with dirty air? So this department has opportunities for you to get incredible jobs. Because I work in government, I see the need. Governments all across the country, towns and cities, are looking for people skilled in the environmental sciences, because regulations are changing and we need boots on the ground to help mitigate climate change and implement the regulations. And you're going to have a lot of stability with a government type position. At the city I work for, City of Victorville, the entry level position, entry level, is over $45,000 a year. I mean, that's very nice. Comes with benefits, and they offer to pay for your college too. So there's lots of ways that you can, lots of jobs that you can tap into. It could be water management, policy making, working in the landscape environment, applying pesticides in an environmentally friendly manner. You know, we still need those types of things. So you might be a legislator. There's so many jobs available to you, and it all starts right here at VVC. Our future begins with yours right here. And I would like to welcome you to come check us out. You get to explore lots of different diverse subjects. And maybe you think you want to be something over here in the beginning, but once you get here and you get exposed to all this, you just see the world open up to all the possibilities. So I'd like to turn you over to Benjamin Lehan in the lab department. So let's go over there. There you go, Benjamin.
Thank you very much. My name is Benjamin Lehan, and I'm an entomologist with Cal Poly Pomona, and I do research on invasive species. I'm also an adjunct instructor here at Victor Valley College. I've been here for about 4 years now. And I specialize in entomology and integrated pest management. And the course for this is AGNR 120. There's a lot of things to go over in this course, and some of us may have already mentioned, but I will remind you that agriculture in California is a $50 billion industry every year. If California's agriculture were a private company, we have more revenue than Coca-Cola has, and we almost have as much revenue as Disney. So we can't state enough the economic importance of our industry. But to also throw some numbers at you, invasive species cost the United States over $120 billion every year in losses to our crops. Where are those losses primarily coming from? Well, they're primarily coming from insect damage to those crops. So because there's such an economic value here that we could potentially lose, there's a lot of opportunities for students to work in this field, primarily in regulatory agriculture, but also in chemical applications to control these pests. And the class that we're teaching, integrated pest management, is primarily focused with entomology, learning about arthropods, how to identify them and how to control them. But there are other pests we will discuss. There are plant-related pests, a lot of weeds we don't want to grow on our crops. There are vertebrate pests like squirrels and coyotes. We don't really focus so much on those in this course. We primarily focus on the insect side of things. My background, I've worked for the USDA, that's the federal level agriculture, United States Department of Agriculture. I've also worked with the California Department of Food and Agriculture at the state level as a field biologist. And I've worked with Riverside County Agricultural Commissioner's Office as a field biologist also. Now, the reason I bring those up is to remind you of the overwhelming number of job opportunities at the federal level, at the state level, and at the county level. And some of these jobs at the county level require certificates. So you need licenses that you need to pass to get these jobs. But we train you on how to pass these licenses and these exams in AGNR 120. So you can hit the job market with these credentials. And there are jobs right now being offered at the county level that will pay you $30 an hour with full benefits and an impressive retirement package if you possess some of these certificates and can offer your services to private and public farmers. We do a lot of cool things in this course. We like to do things hands-on. So this isn't just lecturing in a classroom. We like to get bug nets in your hands. We like to get aspirators in your hands, which are fun tools we use to collect insects. And we spend a lot of our time walking around campus and going on local field trips, hunting insects. And we collect them with our bug nets, and we actually euthanize them in an ethical way. And then we pin them. And I've actually brought a display to show this is one of your assignments in the course, is to actually make a display like this. This is a version of what we'd call a Cornell drawer, a museum display. And this is a beautiful way that we get to capture the insect, identify it, and preserve it and display it for future students. And there's also another important thing that I didn't mention. You do need to, in order to be an effective biologist, you need to be able to identify your pests efficiently. One of the opportunities that you can get into right out of college as a pest control advisor, some pest control advisors are making $500 to $800 an acre for their services. And these individuals are essentially, I joke around and I call them plant doctors. You visit crops, you visit farmers, you offer your services, you identify what pests are on their crops, you identify what quantity of pests there are, and you prescribe what chemicals to use and in what quantity to do it safely and sustainably, but also effective enough to treat the crops and protect the economic value for the farmer. There's a lot of opportunities to also be QAL, Qualified Applicator License, QAC, Qualified Applicator Certificate. Those you can do right now, right out of high school without any special bachelor's degree or associate's degree. You can get a QAL license right now and start offering your services for ornamental production in Southern California and make a healthy living doing so. And to close that out, this is AGNR 120, a wonderful course. I've had nothing but good reviews about it. And who doesn't want to carry a bug net and start to chase some insects? There's a lot of fun things you can do. And as always, I'm available for questions or consulting if you need help on how to sign up for that course.
All right, we're going to move over to our, what we call our Natural Resources Study Lab. And I'll just keep talking as we go, right? Is that a good idea? Yeah. I'll point out a couple of things. Right in here, we have, this is where we make baby plants into big plants. This is one of our labs. We also have floral design that goes on. You've got behind us there, so it's very diverse. And then outdoors, all our landscapes might look like pretty gardens to you guys, but they're actually working landscapes. And so you've got over there, we've got our raised bed, urban gardening. We have a wonderful class on how to grow your own food. And so that's what that is over there. And then little shed over here houses our irrigation supplies. Irrigation water management is a huge focus here in the high desert. The way we describe careers in, probably getting a bit crackly, in this field is we talk about the working landscape. So we have agriculture in California. California, just really close to us, over in Bakersfield, San Joaquin, richest agricultural region in the world, 400 different kinds of crops. As a whole, it is the biggest industry. When you take in distribution, processing, and production, the biggest industry. But the way it has to be described now with careers is we talk about the working landscape. So it's all the related things that come into that. So that's mining, that's fishing, that's water management, that's recreation. California has the biggest recreation industry. You know, people, I'm sure you've come out to the desert on your OHVs. That's a huge industry. Well, people have to manage that. And so we're really at the nexus of where all of this comes together. So you can't find these careers by picking up one area. They're so diverse, but our main focus is by opening up all these career fields and all these technologies. We're walking now into our GIS lab, Geographic Information Systems, or really geospatial technologies. This is the most employable and best paid computer related field. I'm going to look in the camera because this is the truth, has been for a long time, and nobody knows about it. We have the only GIS classes on campus, and they're magic to get into any agency, any place, because everyone is mapping what they're doing. You guys are used to Google Maps and MapQuest when you travel. That's just scratching the surface. When they had the 9/11 tragedy back in New York, they managed it all on a GIS. It runs everything. Your gas, your water every morning is all managed on a GIS. And these folks are in the 100+ range for the work. And what's interesting is you don't even have to have a degree for that. It's so new that just a few GIS classes can get you in that door. So yeah, so let's move over here now, and we'll just take some questions. Can you guys come up as well? Can you get Ben over as well? And we'll just answer any questions.
So at this time, if you have any questions for Neville or his team, please unmute and ask now. But I will start with one question. Explain how San Bernardino County is one of the most important counties in the nation for agriculture.
Okay, so San Bernardino County I wouldn't consider them most important for agriculture, but for natural resource management, we're critical because we're so huge, right? And so when you're talking, let's just pick on one of these things. There's so many examples, but the State Water Project, right? We don't realize it, but our water, the water you drank this morning, could have come from Lake Shasta. And that's the State Water Project, comes right through Hesperia here, ends in Silverwood Lake. It supplies most of the water for Southern California that doesn't come from the Colorado. So managing that natural resources, the amount of water jobs there are up here, and again, these are also well paid, is unbelievable. And they just can't find the people to do it. It's such a new field. There are very few programs that even introduce it. So air quality management, another one, right? The strictest AB 32, the climate change bill, is the strictest policy in the world. And who's going to manage that? But a whole plethora. I'll just give you an example. Mitsubishi Cement employs one full-time person to manage their air quality, right? And so these jobs are really prevalent. Now, in agriculture itself, Ben will support this. We have a lot of distribution and processing jobs, right? How many people like In-N-Out burgers, right? Guess what? They're processed not in San Bernardino, but in City of Industry. Those hamburgers are made fresh every day, and they are fresh. I've seen it every day in City of Industry. LA County is the top LA and Riverside, and I don't know, but I think San Bernardino, I assume, top processing. And if you put processing, then what about distribution? You've noticed that 15 freeway, most of the food's coming in there. So when you put that side of ag together, but then if you add these other working landscape jobs of the forestry, the air quality, the water, then it's just absolutely massive. The other thing I would say is that 80%, you see here I'm a teacher talking a lot, right? 80% of the jobs are, 80% of the land in the Mojave Desert is owned by the government. So whether it's the Department of Defense or whoever it is, they've got all these people that have to manage that land. And we just had 2 students last year that worked for Department of Defense. They've got all kinds of regulations on how to use this land. And, you know, my opinion, thank God for that. It's not easy, but it's great fun. You're actually making a difference. I'd say to you, this is one area where you really feel, go home at night and think, I did something that, you know, helped the future. So thank you, Michael.
I have a question here. Explain for the students that are watching, what was your motivation? What led you to this path? Because some out there are probably wondering, how did you get involved in this
halfway in this book?
Right. Well, it started a long time ago. So I'm about 30 now. I don't necessarily look at it, but when I was 19, I had just had a son and I was trying to get my life together. And so I started working for a while as a janitor. I worked at Kmart before they stopped existing. And then I saw a video about a gentleman in East Jerusalem. He was going through, he was greening the desert is what it was called. And I looked at it as like, well, I live in a desert. That's pretty neat. Can I learn more? And so I came to VBC. I learned a lot more, a problematic amount of a lot more. And I realized, oh, this is just like a little bit of what I could do. And so I stayed. And then Neville and Dolores helped me get along. And then it just kind of fell into place. I decided a long time ago, after everything, that I wanted to do something that I felt like Neville was saying. I could go to bed every night, wake up every morning, go, well, I'm doing something. And I feel like I'm doing something. Like the seeds I'm helping grow now, they're not the most important plant in the world, but some of them only exist in the Mojave. If we lose them, they're gone forever. That's pretty important if I can make sure that at the very least, one bad fire doesn't completely erase them from existence. And that's something for me. So a lot of it is just trying to find something that clicks in your head and helps you go, oh, I could do that forever. Like I plan on being a very old person before I stop doing anything. That's because I probably won't be able to like move around as much.
You mean like as old as me?
Oh no, older. You're still in your prime.
I have one quick question for you.
Please.
Can you please tell them who you just got a job with?
Oh yes,
last
yeah.
week, and just one example of jobs we haven't even talked about.
Yeah, so I was recently employed last week with a agency, local one. It's called the Mojave Desert Resource Conservation District, and that's a small agency, part of a larger one, where every county in all of the country has a resource conservation district where they look for people who can help agricultural producers, like small housing communities, people with land, anywhere that there's like some sort of natural resource. They come in and they say, hey, we have people who know what they're doing. We can help you do projects. We can help you with whatever. And I was very fortunate to find myself in a position to get a job there. So now I'm on top of doing the project here. I can kind of pad my time out a lot more, doing even more projects with the Resource Conservation District. And that's an exciting opportunity for me because that's something, again, that I can do kind of until I'm too old for them to say, oh, well, it's great that you know what you're doing, but like you're going to break something out in the field.
It's also a really great example of a hidden area. So Resource Conservation District is under the umbrella of the US Department of Agriculture. The Farm Bill puts millions upon millions, almost $1 billion last year, I believe, into conservation of our soils and our water, keeping everything working and clean. Then under them, the Resource Conservation District is under the Natural Resource Conservation Service. So there's this tiered system, and there's probably 20 something people in Victorville. So it's this example of all these areas, especially just in government, never mind industry. If you work in industry like Cindy has, the environmental regulation in California force you to hire a whole bunch of consultants. But this is just government. That's just an example of a hidden area. And I know for a fact, because I serve as a director on that board, that we are continually looking. When we heard that Dakota was available, we were all over it because the people that can do this work are just not there.
And I think it's actually a really important point that Neville brings up is that once you're in one part of this like larger network, you'd be amazed at how small it can get and how wide it can expand, like beyond the county of San Bernardino. We can talk to people, say, for like one of the teachers at my university I just graduated from. Like I mentioned Neville's name in passing, and they go, "Oh, Slade. Oh, we know him. He came through to see our horses one time," because that's a big thing for Pomona is to have Arabian horse projects there, where there's breeding them. It's a very interesting thing to get into it, but that's way down the hill. That ain't even in this county, and they know about this gentleman who's an important part of this junior college in the middle of the desert. you'd be amazed at how far you can go and how many names you'll keep hearing pop up once you get in here. And it really is not unsettling, but it is exciting to know that I can step foot in Victor Valley College in 2014 and know people who are big names in restoration, or the different lecturers, people who are like getting their doctorates, doing a bunch of important science in 2020. I mean, in 2022. Oh, Lord.
So in closing, I would like each one of you just to share briefly how you would inspire educators in the high school pathways to motivate students to come to VVC.
So talking specifically to the educators. Yeah, what I would like to say is what I'm looking for is folks that could come to us and say, can you, especially if somebody in the high school can teach it, could you teach a couple of key classes for us? And we've done this, we've piloted this at Granite Hills and also at the Lewis Center for Educational Research. In the fall, we do environmental science and sustainability. That opens the door to all of this. It's got a lot about careers in it. Then in the spring, we do sustainable ag, environment, and society. And really what that is looking at all these really key issues of GMOs, genetically modified organisms, pesticides, health issues. Amazingly enough, COVID. Guess what? COVID is an environmental health issue. And so we talk about that. So it opens up all those. So if they could look and try to work with us on dual enrollment in those couple of classes, and this doesn't have to be an ag high school. We did this in 2 non-ag classes and was so successful that I think the first time ever to get a scholarship to Cambridge, one of the students in that got a Fulbright scholarship to Cambridge. I don't think we made that, but he was in the class. Just shows you how cool it was. So yeah, Dolores.
I would like to just say about the educators to inform your students that, VVC is a great place just as a stepping stone to get into college, to open doors and show you all other opportunities. If you're not ready to go to a 4-year university, this is a great place to come, especially if you're interested in just being outside, going for hikes, being outdoors. I know back when I was in high school, I didn't know that we had this department here at BBC, or I would have came straight here because I love to be outside and go outdoors. But I eventually learned about it, came here, went through the program, and it'll open up so many other doors and other avenues that you didn't know existed just in being outside, in jobs that are outdoors. And if you love the environment, you want to conserve it, this is just a great place to come. And not just our department, BBC's got many other departments, but right now we're talking about our department. So don't get discouraged from our name. I know our name says agriculture, and a lot of a younger generation doesn't think that agriculture just means farming and animals and livestock, but we are way much more than that. It's a very big umbrella that we're under agriculture. So there's a lot of opportunities. So I just want to get that out there.
I'm sorry, I'm going to grab one more second. We have 3 classes that are under enrolled, and they're really cool. We have one, wildlife management. It's at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday, so local high schools could take it. We have propagation. Dolores took about in the evenings. I think it's Tuesday and Thursday. And then we have the 120, and we have a plant ID class. So another way, even for people that are full-time, or you seniors that aren't doing anything right now, I know you're hanging out. Come take one of these classes, sneak away from school and blame me.
I want to plug that it's free enrollment right now for any seniors or graduating seniors. It's free enrollment to come to school. And you also get a $250 book voucher for any book that you want to take. So.
Yeah. And we'll give you a big hug if you take one of our classes.
Well, yeah.
From 6 feet.
Some 6 feet,
From
exactly.
6 feet,
Good
yeah.
socially distance.
One thing I would like to tell educators is that a lot of times you have students that just don't know where they want to go. I'm like, I don't know if college is for me. A lot of people are more hands-on, and the thought of taking another math class just sends them into shock. Here's the thing, college is is so vast. And there's so many ways you can go with it. And if you're not sure, this is a great department to come and join us, because the people here are friendly. We're down to earth, literally. Okay, we are literally down to earth. It's cost effective. It's hardly any money at all. I mean, you hear all this stuff about college, loans and all that stuff. It doesn't take hardly anything to get through here and get a degree. And as you experiment with different jobs, different classes, you'll like understand, hey, I thought I was going to go over here and work in a lab, but I love working with my hands, and now I'm, going to go over here. So you know your students. Ask them to try out a class or two, especially the ones that say, oh, college isn't for me. Nobody in my family's gone to college. Heck, you can be the first one, so that's what I would suggest. Here's Benjamin.
I'll close out by saying that as educators, I think it's important that you push your students into an industry that is thriving. And there are 7.7 billion people on this planet. There's 330 million in the United States, and every one of those has to eat roughly 2,000 calories a day. And you might be interested in a number of fields, and that's wonderful, and you should pursue all of your interests. But if you're interested in something like computer programming, that programmer had to eat food before he programmed that day, and he's going to need to eat food tomorrow. And something else I will say, as an employee of the Cal State University system, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for that system, they are raising tuition next year, and so is the University of California. It is free to come to the community college this year and next year. So if you're not sure what you should do, don't take out student loans to go to the four-year system. I mean, you can, and if you want to go that route, I encourage, follow your heart. But financially speaking, it makes a lot more sense to explore options at the community college. And getting back to the educators pushing towards agriculture, it is truly the only essential industry. It is the industry that is the foundation of every other industry that we have. There are some metrics that say for every 1 acre we have in California, there are 3 to 6 jobs in some way associated with it, whether it's farming it, storing it, spraying pesticides on it, regulatory agriculture, shipping and receiving, and even selling it. So there's no shortage of employment opportunities in this field, and it's free to come to Victor Valley College.
And if I may add one more thing to Ben's incredibly good points, it's that we're a part of this community, and as is every student, every instructor, we are here, not just for the students, we're definitely here for the students, but if the instructors need someone else to come in and explain some of these things, well, we are here. Yes, we will come. If you ask us to come through, even if it's on some of our personal time, I know at least every person standing here has come out to talk to students on their personal time. If we can, we will. And a lot of times, even if we can't, one of us is going to make the time to do so.
Yeah, thanks. And every class is taught by a professional in the field, which is unique. Ben brought up Cal Poly Pomona. They're professional educators. We have all worked in the field and still do. So thank you very much. Plug for VVC.
So I just want to say thank you to Neville and his wonderful team for the tour today. Thank you also, educators and students, for joining this wonderful SB Connect session. You can catch the next session at sbcalliance.org, where we will again connect you to the world of work. You have a great day today. Thank you.